Coming up, all the success in the world can't satisfy this famous producer, and a stiff prison sentence helps an addict rebuild her life.
Well, welcome to 700 Club Canada. Thanks so much for joining us. Bill, I've got a very important question to ask you. Okay. I want to know a story from your dating life. Can you think back that long
back
ago?
when the dinosaurs were on the earth? Yeah, well, actually, I do have a funny story, really quick. The first time I asked my wife to go out with me, she said no. She rejected me. And it was interesting, though, because that rejection made me determine if I really wanted to do this or not. And I said the next time, she's not saying no.
Wow.
So I wrote a song, even though I couldn't play the guitar. Anyway, good news is she said yes the second time.
Yes, she did. And you were a keeper, apparently.
Yes.
Well, we're going to learn about rejection today. It's actually such an important topic. And joining us is author Kait Warman to talk about her new book, Thank You for Rejecting Me. That sounds like you, Bill, right?
Yeah.
Rejection can leave deep scars that affect our relationships and our self-worth and our identities. But this is hope. If you've experienced rejection, stay with us. Kait will share some insights from her book on overcoming the pain of rejection. Welcome to 700 Club Canada, Kait.
Hi, Lorie. Thanks for having me.
Well, your book, Thank You for Rejecting Me. I mean, the title makes me smile. It's certainly not the normal response to rejection, right? So tell us why you wrote the book and how you came to have this perspective on rejection.
Yeah, you don't write a book on rejection without having gone through a plethora of rejections yourself.
Right.
So that is a lot of my story. And I'm still an unmarried woman, so still going through rejections today.
Wow.
But as a dating coach, I get the honor to help thousands of people in their dating life. And what I have seen over the years of helping people is that we can't even get to the how do you date well part, which I love talking about. We have to first start with people's relationship with rejection, because so often the ways we self-reject and the ways that rejection from our past are still haunting us really affect how we show up in our lives for ourselves and in dating as well.
Well, I think that's a really great point. I never thought about that, but that's really terrific. And you break the book into chapters based on some of your biggest life rejections. As you've said, you're being very transparent. And some of those chapters are self-rejections. So can you walk us through the ways you've rejected yourself and how you've reckoned with that?
Yeah, it is so important to first start with our internal self-rejections, because external rejections will continue to happen to us. We won't really have a say over those rejections happening, but the internal self-rejections, we do have control over those. The ways we think about ourselves, the ways we talk to ourselves, sometimes in many ways we can be the most abusive to ourselves with just the ways we think about ourselves. And so the two chapters I talk about self-rejections, I break it into insecurity and body image and body shame, which over 90% of people struggle with body shame. And then I also talk about self-hatred and just the ways that we really dislike ourselves. Whether we're saying that publicly, maybe we're not saying all of that publicly, but it's the ways we're thinking about ourselves. We are shaming ourselves. We have these narratives of lies and unworthiness plaguing us. And if we don't rewrite some of those things and receive God's love within it all, then we will show up unworthy. We will show up already rejected before someone even rejects us.
Oh, man, that is so, so true. I think that you must be helping a lot of people with that perspective. Where did you find God in the midst of your deepest rejections then? And what encouragement do you have for those who are questioning, why God might let them experience the pain of rejection?
Yeah, girl, James 1 is one of my life verses where it says, consider it pure joy when you face troubles of many kind, because it produces steadfastness or perseverance or endurance in different translations. And, none of us want to go through external rejections. It's not like we're like, yes, bring it on. I love rejection.
Right.
But the point of the matter is that God is never absent within our pain, and he is always going to redeem it in some form or fashion. And once I realized that, and not just like I said it with my mouth, but that I believed it from my head to my heart, that God is a transforming God and that he will transform the pain of all of my life's rejections, it gave me a sense of internal hope that I could cling on to, even in the face of future rejection. So when you put yourself out there in dating in so many different situations, there's always the potential of rejection. But when you know that God will use that rejection to redeem something in your life, it's not quite as scary.
Yeah, that's a really good point of view. I mean, obviously, like you're saying, you've got some experience here. And I really, to be truthful, we all do, right? We
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
experience rejection in relationships, whether they're dating relationships or maybe, they're friendships on different levels. What do you think from your experience and your expertise in this area? What's one of the biggest hurdles then that for people to get over when they've been rejected? What is like the thing that just has to be broken that will help them move forward?
I think one of the biggest things is the lies that it brings up about ourselves.
Mm,
Rejection often initially, we like to personalize rejection. So immediately when a rejection happens, whether in a romantic relationship, whether with friends, a coworker, whatever it is, immediately that rejection happens and we start thinking, what is wrong with me? Why
right.
am I so unworthy? What do I need to change? Why am I not loved? And so we start personalizing those rejections so much that it then leads to bringing up all these lies that may already exist about ourselves. So, what's so great about it, Lorie, is really realizing the lies that we have when it comes to rejection. Acknowledging them allows us for the potential to then heal from them so
Yeah.
that when rejection happens and whatever kind it does happen, because it will happen,
Yeah.
we're not so crippled by those lies. They may like try to present themselves, but we're like, oh no, I see you this
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
this time you're not going to stick on me,
Right. That is so good, Kait. Okay, final thought here. What's your greatest hope for those that read your book?
I kind of already said it, but I want to repeat it in a stronger way that rejection will always happen to us, and it is uncontrollable. But you can have the courage, you can have the strength, you can have the own power within you that God puts within you to face so many things in your life. You are stronger than you even can imagine. And so no matter what has happened to you, you're never too broken. You're never too you haven't been through too much trauma. There's always hope. And even if you keep showing up in your life and you feel like, oh gosh, the fear of rejection just keeps crippling me, you can conquer it.
Yeah.
Today can be the day that you decide, you know what, let's dig through some layers and grasp onto further healing here.
Yeah.
It is possible for
It
you.
is possible. Thank you for that great word. I think that's going to resonate with so many people. If you want to know more about Kait's book and her podcast, The Heart of Dating, go to 700club.ca. Thank you so much, Kait.
Thanks, Lorie.
Yeah. And now, can success buy you everything? Well, not according to this famous music producer.
Everybody who's anybody, I've produced them. In the world, I'm talking about the Rolling Stones, Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, Clarence Carter. They came here because I was that guy that was producing hit records.
Legendary record producer Rick Hall spent over 5 decades creating hit after hit with artists from Aretha Franklin to the Osmonds, Mac Davis to the Gatlin brothers. Fame Studios drew artists from around the world to the little town of Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
On the early years, most all of my music that I produced was black artists. George Wallace while he was preaching against the blacks, I was in the studio recording #1 records on black people with white musicians.
He was raised by his father, who instilled in him a love for music and a drive for perfection.
He was a dear man to me. Whatever I am, he made it so. Do this right. Do it over again. Don't do that. Change that. Fix that. I may do one song 50 times and then come back a month later and do it 50 more times.
Rick had been baptized when he was a boy and grew up in the church, but he turned his back on God in his 20s when tragedy struck.
My wife was killed in a car wreck, and then 2 weeks later my dad was killed on a tractor that I had bought him It completely destroyed me. I became an alcoholic. I became a drunk, a bum. I gave up on God, and in God, I felt that God had given up on me.
Rick eventually remarried and poured himself into record producing and songwriting, eventually winning Billboard magazine's Producer of the Year in 1971. Yet his fiery temper and need for control brought strife into all areas of his life.
I mean, you sense the tenseness. I sat here at this console 50 years, 55 years, night after night and day after day, and beat people up and got beat up. It was my way or the highway. I'm no nonsense. When I come in the studio, it's like death.
His wife, Linda, was a Christian and knew how unhappy Rick was, despite all he had accomplished.
Rick had every kind of award, every kind of accolade that anybody could have, but it wasn't enough. That he still needed the peace that only God can give. And I knew what he needed, but I couldn't convince him of what he needed. So I just prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed.
Rick says he knew something had to change.
Turmoil, frustration, looking for something better, and believing that I was the best in the business, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Even with all that success and all that stuff, there was something missing. And I wanted to be with Jesus, and when I died, I wanted to go to heaven.
Finally, at 82 years old, Rick says he quit running from God. He talked with his pastor and prayed to receive Jesus into his life and was rebaptized. He says his decision to turn back to God has changed everything.
I have total peace of mind now. I always had this anxiety of feeling about myself and about my future. All these things that I've managed to become, it was God working in my life. While I was running from him, I didn't know it at the time, but he had his hand on my shoulder.
Rick shares his life story in the book, The Man from Muscle Shoals, From Shame to Fame. He says he's still driven to be the best, but his priorities have changed.
God is in control completely. I've turned it all over to him. My relationship with God is more important to me now than having a #1 record, or having 2 #1 records, or 5, or whatever. Because I know he can deliver all things to me and through me. And now I want to introduce other people to that feeling I've got.
And so maybe today you identify with Rick when he expressed, I felt like God had given up on me. He even said, even with all the success I had, no one cared. I was thinking a lot about that. I was thinking life is kind of like a bucket, and we try to fill it with things. But we also know that life has a way of punching holes in the bucket. And so what I've learned, when we try to fill it with anything other than God, it's kind of like trying to fill those holes with toilet paper. It may stop the water for a while, but it's continually leaking out. It's frustrating. It's empty. And so what we've all learned here is that Jesus doesn't just plug our holes. He actually gives us a new life, a whole new bucket. Listen to what he said in Matthew 16:25. He says, for whoever wants to save their life will have to lose it. But whoever loses their life for me will find it. In other words, they'll get a whole new life. What good is it, Jesus said, if you gain the whole world and yet forfeit your soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? For the Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they had done. And so my hope is that, like Rick today, you exchange your broken life, stop trying to fill it with all kinds of things that can't satisfy, an empty life with a new life, the life that Jesus came to give. And so Rick said, I have total peace of mind now. And since that interview, Rick has passed on to eternity, and he is receiving the full reward of putting his trust in the one who can save us, not only in this life, but in eternity. And if you'd like to make that decision today, why not give us a call? We'd love to introduce you to what it means to fully walk with Jesus. And if you call us today at 1-855-759-0700, we'd love to put this pamphlet, The Fullness of God, in your hands, and we'd love to pray with you so that you can receive the new life that God came to give you. Now, up next, Helen was sentenced to prison for check fraud and embezzlement, but then she got a second chance.
He had a great big thick belt with a thick belt buckle, and he was hitting me with it. And I knew if I didn't get him off of me, it's no telling what would happen.
Helen Burton was 16 years old when she had her first serious boyfriend. Almost immediately, the relationship turned violent.
I was getting deceived saying, well, maybe it's something I didn't do. You know, maybe just because I didn't have a couple of beers in the refrigerator, maybe that's what made him jump on me.
Helen's boyfriend was an alcoholic and drug user. She started using drugs to escape the emotional and physical abuse he inflicted on her.
I thought it was going to be taking away my problems or make me closer to him at the time, or more acceptable as his girlfriend.
By the time she turned 23, she had 3 children and was a coke addict. After her mother died, Helen felt even more alone.
I was a young mama by myself, and the relationship that I was in wasn't good. And she was always there for me, and it hurt when she left me.
Helen finally took her kids and escaped from her abusive boyfriend. But with a drug habit to support, she needed money. So she cashed in her dead mother's disability checks.
I was kind of scared, but I said, well, what the heck, that's extra money. So I did forge her name. And that went on for about 2 to 3 years.
3 years later, Helen was arrested for check fraud. She had stolen $13,000 from Social Security and went to prison for a year. She also lost custody of her 3 children. Ashley and Corey recalled a time when their mother went to prison.
The low for me was when me and my brother was split up, and we already didn't have our older brother. I did blame my mother because we never would have had to go stay with anyone else if she didn't make the mistakes she did at the time.
I thought it was probably that she didn't want to be, she didn't want to be in our lives, or she didn't love us.
After prison, Helen got 2 fast food restaurant jobs to support herself. But she still had a drug habit that she couldn't seem to kick. Within a year, she had stolen $10,000 from her employer's cash drawers and was arrested and sent to prison again.
I said, I gotta get myself together. But it's just like a revolving door. I don't know what to do. I didn't know who to reach out to for help or anything.
When Helen got out of prison, she was able to get another fast food job as a manager. But she continued doing drugs. One night after closing the restaurant, Helen counted out all the cash registers, which totaled $2,500. She was tempted by all the cash in her hands. That's when she said she heard the voice of God.
I heard him say, Helen, don't you take that money. Oh, it's okay, I can make up this, I take like $60. It was like $2,500 in that bag. Helen, don't you take that money.
Instead of depositing the money into the bank, she went on an all-night drug binge. The next morning, the police came to her home to arrest her. That led to Helen's final trip to prison. There, she went to a Bible study. When she returned to her cell, she prayed to God to help change her.
And I acknowledged him. And I surrendered everything. I had been fighting him too long. But I heard him as plain as day as I'm talking now. He said, if you don't get yourself together, you're gonna be in the rest of your life. And from that moment, that's what I knew. That was it. I told him that I was through. I told him I was tired. I told him that I've surrendered. And I said, whatever you have to do. And I said, what do you have to do to me? I said, whatever I have to do, I'll do it. And that's how it started.
Helen began to read the Bible and learn more about herself.
It was becoming alive to me that I am unique. I am special. I'm somebody. I'm created in your likeness and in your image, Lord. And that's what started me on that journey. It just gave me a sense of peace, even in that prison. I was able to smile again. I was able to begin to forgive myself of a lot of stuff that I'd done.
Helen left prison 11 years ago and never did drugs again. She's been reunited with her children.
Today, I would tell my mom, you are a very strong woman. You came from the lowest of the low to a good place. She's conquered a lot.
I'm just happy that, you had mercy on her and gave her another chance.
Helen also made restitution for all the money she stole from her former employers. She frequently visits other prisoners and tells them about the one who changed everything in her life.
I give all thanks to God for my deliverance. I thank him that he never gave up on me. I thank him that even when he seen me at my darkest time, he was with me, even when I didn't think he was with me at all. But he's my everything, and that's what I choose to live for him. And there's no other way.
Wow, what a story of transformation. I mean, Helen, she was shortcutting her healing. And many do that. We take this short-term satisfaction route by using maybe drugs or stealing money like Helen. But Jesus says, I'm the way out. I am the way to your freedom. Listen to what Luke chapter 4, verse 18 says. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me, this is Jesus, to bring good news to the poor. He has set me to proclaim that captives will be released, that the blind will see, that the oppressed will be set free. And you can certainly see in Helen's story, she found true freedom. But you might think, how? Like, that's really nice. The Bible says that Jesus can set us free, but how is that possible? Well, you see, Jesus has the power and authority to set us free from really the three things that hold us back: sin, Satan's schemes, and death itself. Jesus has authority over all those things. So when you turn to Jesus, he can deliver you and set you free from any sin, from any scheme of the enemy, and even from death itself. And he heals our minds, our emotions, our bodies, and our will. That is the miraculous work that Jesus alone can do. Well, we've got a prayer request from Diane, and she's praying for freedom for her son. Pray for my son, she says, that he'll find peace and forgiveness in his heart. He's been very bitter and unhappy since his father passed away 14 years ago. Well, I'm so sorry about the loss of his dad, but I just pray right now in Jesus' name. Jesus, would you go after this boy? Would you go and would you encounter him? Would he discover that you can set him free from unforgiveness? You can set him free from his bitterness. You can transform his life. You can change his mind and his thinking and his emotions, and you can make his will and desires line up with all that you have in store for him. So we pray for salvation to come in Jesus' name. Call us if you need prayer for anything. Don't hesitate. 1-855-759-0700. We're here for you, whether it's your first time to reach out or you need prayer again. We're here for you. We'll be right back.
God is for us. A special audio recording from Pat Robertson.
Neither height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Reduce stress and anxiety while dwelling on the promises of God. God is for us. Verses of salvation, peace, and victory from the book of Romans. Available now.
Well, I hope you've been encouraged with these amazing stories of hope today. And you can help us continue to share these stories across the nation, around the world, by becoming a partner with us today. By becoming a partner today, for as little as $20 a month, you can become a difference maker to someone who is desperately in need. And as a special thank you for becoming a monthly partner, we'll send you this God is For Us, an encouraging reading of verses from the book of Romans. So why not call us today, become a partner, and help us spread this amazing news? Call us at 1-855-759-0700.
Hello, 700 Club partners. My name is Lana Bristow, and I graduated from the Windsor Life Center 4 years ago. For the last year and a half, I've been working as the kitchen manager at the Windsor Life Center. So on behalf of women like me, I'd like to thank people like you, because without people like you, I wouldn't be given this opportunity to be able to pour back into hurt and broken women. So thank you.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've learned a lot about rejection today. And you feel better now that your wife rejected you when she
Well, I don't think anyone likes rejection, but it is good to learn from it.
It is.
And I love the stories of hope that we heard.
Yeah.
That no matter what mistakes we've made, or maybe we feel like we've been rejected by life or ourselves, there's always hope in a God who's good.
That is so true. And you know what? God meets us wherever we're at, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
He's so good. We have some partner comments. Gladys said, I love this program very much. I love to be a part of bringing in souls for the kingdom of heaven. Keep up the good work. Well, Gladys, thank you for your partnership with us. We're so encouraged by that.
Yeah, and Marie said, thank you for your continued prayers and for your encouraging daily show, which features lots of miracles and lives that were radically transformed. Amazing. And we're going to continue to believe that many lives are going to be transformed because it's the message of Jesus that does that.
And you know, as I often think about, like, how is it possible that believing in Jesus changes your life?
Yeah.
But it is the miraculous work and the power of the cross, isn't it, ultimately?
Yeah, and I think it's the belief that it can be better. I think we live in a world that just wants to beat us down and define us by our failures. I mean, we live in such a critical culture right now, cancel culture.
Yeah.
And I think the message of Jesus is that no matter what you've done, no matter what mistake you've made, no matter how far you feel like you've fallen, there's a God who's willing to pick you up and will make it better.
Yes, that is so true. And you know what? Following Jesus is the best way to live.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not a short change, sort of like, well, it'll make you feel good for a while, or it works for some. It literally is the most life-giving way to live.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love our power verse for today. It says, blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers.
But those whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on this law day and night. That's the word of God we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Right?
And so my hope is that today you put your hope, your life, your trust in Jesus. It is the best way. Thank you so much for watching.
To contact us, visit 700club.ca.